Today we are going to be working on simple interest and putting it into our Excel formula book. So we are on page 2 where it says simple and complex interest. So we'll be working with this side right here. So when it says your present value is known. So a lot of this first and second page of our notes, we knew our present value. Now let's go ahead and pick one out. So let's say we are working on example 3. It says, what is the value at the end of a 4-year period of a $5,000 investment earning 8% simple interest per period, per year? So let's take this information and let's put it into our formula book so that we can make some quick calculations as we're going. So we have your $5,000, which I might go ahead and already add some flair. So I might do some currency here. Your rate they're saying is 8%. So 0.08. There we go. Or if you wanted to, you can, well, yeah, we want this as a decimal, so never mind. Your time we have per year. So we have, let's see, our year, we said 4 years. Now your interest, right? Your interest could be calculated one of 2 ways. So let's go ahead and put in one of your ways. Your interest could be equal to your present value times your rate times your time. So when we go and try to enter in a formula, we're going to write equals. And instead of writing now 5,000, I want it to work for all of the times in the future. So I'm going to multiply my $5,000 by clicking on the cell B3 times 8 times 4. Now, this is just one way to calculate your interest rate. Another way we're going to find is to take your future value and subtract it by your present value. So let's first find your future value. Your future value, we said we can do a couple different ways. One way we can do it is have your present value plus your interest rate. So you can hit equals your present value, located here in B3, plus your interest rate. So our future value here is $6,600. Now, another way that we can calculate your interest is kind of going back a step. We can say this is really your future value minus your present value here. So now that we have this built in, we can go and try some of these other problems and kind of go backwards. So here in example 4, we had your present value of $25,000. Your rate was 0.011. Your time was 6 years. And you'll notice that by entering all of those values, that it now pops up with your values that we are looking for. So these would be your answers that we would be expected to come up with. Now, one thing for example 5 is we might need a conversion. So let's say for example 5 here, we changed it to $9,000 here, or sorry, $90,000. We changed your rate. And now we can go ahead and use this 3 months, which we converted 3 months into your years. We did this by dividing 3 divided by 12. Now let's say we wanted Excel to do the work. We could say equals 3 divided by 12. And you'll notice that just by entering in a different formula here, right, if we wanted to convert, we can actually go ahead and make Excel do the work for us. And you'll notice that here again are our answers here. Now let's try it again now with example 6. Your present value. So let's try some of these values down here. So with your present value, now we said present value is unknown, so we don't know this amount here. However, we should know rate, we should know time. So if we were to try out example 7, it says an investment earns 2% per year. So let's go ahead and put this part in. So we have 2% per year. We have your time, which is 17 months. So 17 months converted into years. We have 17 divided by 12. And then down below, we could calculate your interest from a number of different ways. Which one we could say, we can now substitute, instead of having your present value here, or sorry, your interest rate. So sorry, I was lost focus for one moment. Your interest, we could do one of your ways here or the other. So it doesn't matter which one you do, because maybe we're talking about simple interest. I might want to plug it in to the initial. So you have this times your rate times your time here. And you'll notice that it's 0 because you don't have a present value amount. If we were to go back to example 7, we said that we have also this $30,000 for your investment. Again, I want to make this into a percentage, not a percentage, a currency amount. I also don't need so much, so many decimal places. So I might just round just a little bit. Now, when it comes to your present value equation, we're going to set equals. We're going to click on your future value divided by parentheses 1 plus your rate times your time. Now, because Excel is a calculator, we don't have to worry so much about rounding errors as we would on any sort of calculator if we did go ahead and divide 17 by 12. You'll notice that here we have your same response. Again, we don't need so many decimal places, so let's go ahead and reduce. So now let's go ahead and try example 8. This time we are going to use a goal-seek approach to finding some of the additional things. Now this one I do have to just preface something that might not get said for in example 8. I'm going to try and set my interest over its lifetime to be $100. So this part, I'm going to just say that this is a known value. So let's go ahead and we want to know that it is $100. And we do not have your rate. So this is going to be unknown. We'll just label that. And then when it comes to your present value, so our present value, let's just say we already know that it's going to cost $3,000. We have we don't have your interest rate, correct? We do know that it's 2 years, so we can change that. And you'll notice that it's going to change as we go, and that is perfectly fine. Now let's go ahead and use your goal seek. So let's go to data, over to the what if analysis and the goal seek. So when it says set cell, we want to set this known cell. This is going to be right here. So my B7 cell, and notice that when I click it, it already has it locked in. So I'm just going to click this cell. And I want to set it to $100. That is just something that I'm going to have to say that is, again, I'm just going to change the wording of this problem a little bit. And then it says by changing, well, I want to change my rate. I don't know what my rate is going to come out to be, but I would like it to change to be about whatever it is to get me under these circumstances, $100. So I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to hit okay one more time. And notice that by doing so, I've now set my interest rate to be 100, and notice that they'll match. And so under the context that I have $30,000 for my present value, my bond over 2 years, I need an interest rate. And I'm going to dial this down. I don't need so many decimals, but I need an interest rate of about 1.67% in order to get what I achieve. And I can see that over here, even if I then round it a little bit more. And notice that this is going to match. Now, the reason why I chose my interest rate to be the one that I've known is that because here I have an equation for my interest rate. Now, I could have chosen either one of these. It didn't matter. So you could have picked either one, but I want a formula in one of my cells, my known cell, so that it can go ahead and change these conditions. Now that should be it for chapter 1 or 2.1. We have all of the formulas that we were able to put in. We have your interest rate, we have your future value, we also have your present value. So this part should be fully complete at this point in time. We don't need this part right here if we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. And things that we could fix up, I could make this into a currency amount. I don't need so many decimal places. And again, this is also a currency value, a number. And that would be it. I don't need to change this back into a percentage. I can just keep it as is. And that should be it as far as your simple interest.